Hi, this is Patrick, and I wanted to share an experience I had back in around 1997, I think 97. Um, I had a friend that was in a band, and the band was named Dysfunctional Family, and they were a band out of Iowa, and they were a cool bunch of dudes. My friend's name was Gordon, and the band Dysfunctional Family at that time actually got number one Bay Area band. And um, Gordon, one day I came down from Northern California with my good friend Jay Marr and one of my childhood friends. And we went to the house that they were staying at. The band came out from Iowa with a bunch of roadies, and there was a bunch of people in the band. Gordon, the guitar player, Ron, the bass player, Craig, the drummer, Aaron, the other guitar player, and there was a bunch of roadies that came out with them. And I came to their house. They had a house in Mill Valley. They rented like I think it was like a $20 million house in Mill Valley. All of them together chipped in and rented the nicest house in the nicest neighborhood up on the hill in Mill Valley. And there was like, I think 18 people staying in that house, a bunch of roadies and all the band members. And they were a great band. They were starting to blow up, and rock and roll band. I showed up at Gordon's house, actually all the band members, Dysfunctional Family's house, with my buddy Johnny, one early afternoon, and I was talking to Gordon, and Gordon was telling me, "Hey, I'm gonna sell my soul to get a record deal." And he's like, "My buddy from this other band, I won't mention the name of the other band. I don't want to get in trouble, but he's like, they got signed, and the guy's name was Josh Z, and he sold his soul for a record deal." And he's like, "I'm getting offered a record deal if I sell my soul." And this is one of the top companies that sign. I don't want to mention the name because I don't want to get sued, but he was going to get a record deal to sell his soul. And I've never heard of anything like this. At this time, I was like, what? No way. You're crazy. And I told him, I said, "Dude, do not sell your soul. You don't know what you're getting into. I've never heard of this. I never knew it was real, but I know this. Do not sell your soul." And he's like, "Man, my friend Josh Z sold his soul and got a record deal from one of the top record labels in the Bay Area. And I'm going to sell my soul. They're offering me a deal if I sell my soul." And I was like, "You're crazy." And I kept going back and forth with him all afternoon. And my buddy Johnny Marr was there, and he was saying, "Dude, whoa, don't do it." And I kept telling him and talking to him about all the reasons not to sell your soul. And he says, "Well, if I sell my soul, we're going to be famous and we're going to get signed." And I went back and forth every reason. We talked about it all day, and he was like into it. He was going to sell his soul, and I went at him in every angle. Why not to sell your soul? And nothing was getting to him. And finally, later on at the end of the day, I said, "Hey, you have a little daughter," and she's like 7 years old, 6 or 7 years old. And I said, "If you sell your soul, you're going to hurt her." And that actually got his attention. He is like, whoa, he was listening to me then when I brought his daughter in the picture. I said, "If you sell your soul, you're going to hurt her. You're going to affect her. It's going to ruin her life. And believe me, it's going to come back to you. Nothing's free. You think that you're selling your soul and getting a record deal and getting rich and famous and all these things, but what comes with it is all bad. And if you ask the guys from Led Zeppelin, there was all kinds of bad stuff that happened after they were involved with the satanic stuff when they did their first album, and there was a bunch of stuff going on that they talk about later, and the singer actually regretted it. So I finally get to my buddy Gordon, and all the bands there listening, everybody's listening to the conversation the whole way, and no one's really like saying yes or no about it, but I was just like, no way, don't do it. I've always been spiritual and believed in God, and I know that's against God, and that's directly selling your soul to the devil, and that's no bueno. So we talked about it all day, and finally I got through to him with his daughter. But so we hang out, and we're drinking a few beers, maybe smoking a little bit, but nothing's. We weren't doing any drugs. We were pretty sober. And around 12 o'clock at night, we say, hey, let's go down to the city. He says, oh, there's some stuff going on down at 1015 Folsom. And I was like, okay, let's go. I have my truck, and me and him and my buddy Jay Marr jump in the truck, and we drive down to 1015 Folsom. We get there around 12:45, and by the time we get into 1015 Folsom, it is last call, and it is packed. If you've ever been to 1015 Folsom, it takes the full block on 1015 Folsom, the address. It's a 3-story club. There's a first story, the ground floor, and then there's an underground dungeon. Well, I go in the club, and I want to get a drink. It's last call. I'm like, let's go downstairs and get a drink. We go downstairs, and we're sober. I want to get a beer. I'm like, hey, I want to get a beer. It's last call. Let's get a drink. And I went down there to buy each of us, all three of us, a drink. And right when we get down to the bottom, this guy comes walking up out of the crowd, and he walks up to Gordon, and Gordon goes, hey, Pat, this is my buddy, Josh Z, that sold his soul. And right as he comes walking out of the crowd, I'll never forget, he has long blonde hair, and he's wearing a straw cowboy hat, and he looks crazy. And he goes, this is the guy that sold his soul for the record deal. And the guy walks right up to us in the crowd, and it's packed. It's packed. It's like elbow to elbow down there. If you've ever been to 1015 Folsom, it's a good-sized club down there downstairs. And there's over 1,000 people down there at least. And I would say there was 5,000 people in the club that night on all 3 stories. Right when the guy walks up to us, he walks up to me and he says, Gordon is like, this is the guy. He walks up to me, says, ha ha ha, I'm the devil. And I go, whoa, why would you want to be the devil? And he goes, ha ha ha, I'm the devil. Just like that voice. And I was like, dude, why would you want to be the devil? The devil only stands for like hurting and suffering and like babies. And he goes, you feel so good. You're making me sick. And I was like blown away. I never ever met anybody who was a devil worshiper, and let alone sold their soul. So I say to my buddy Gordon, whoa, dude, your friend is like just freaked me out. And they kind of went and talked, him and Gordon were talking, and they went off on the crowd, and I was so freaked out that I was like, I walked up to the back wall, and on this is the ocean side of the club, because the street runs all the way down towards the bay, and I put my back up against the wall, and I get down Indian style on the ground with my legs crossed, and I have my back up against the wall, and I start praying. I'm like, please, God, help this guy. He doesn't know what he's doing. And please forgive him. And please help all these people here. Because obviously a lot of them are lost, and maybe the same. I never knew there was such thing as devil worshippers. But I'm in an intense prayer asking God to forgive him, and that he doesn't know what he's doing, and I ask God to protect me, and I'm praying for everybody in the club, and I'm especially praying for that guy, Josh Z, and I am in a prayer, and about literally the prayer's lasting about 10 minutes. I'm intense into a prayer for him. I'm just like praying for him hard, and asking for forgiveness for him, and asking for God to help him. Well, next thing you know, there are 3 people that are right around me, and they're sitting right, one on one side, one right in front of me, and one right beside me, and they're all Indian style on the floor. No one cross-legged Indian style. No one ever gets on the floor in this nightclub or in any, ever. Next thing you know, there's 3 people around me, and to this day, I'm like tripped out. I think, looking back on it, I think they were angels. I think they were angels that showed up and got around me, and they were like, literally, they weren't saying anything. They were just there around me, and I'm praying, and they're like Indian style right here, right next to me, right here, right in front of me, and right here, right beside me. I was like, whoa, these guys are here, and I'm like tripping on them. I'm like, I don't even know them. And I look into their eyes, and they're like, there's something different about them. I think they're like, to this day, I still think they're angels, but they just showed up, and they were like around me. I am praying hard, and next thing you know, Josh Z walks back through the crowd, and he walks up to me, and he can't get to me because these people are around me, Indian cross leg, Indian style, and he tries to get close to me, and he goes, "You feel so good, you're making me sick," and he starts to throw up, and he's throwing up, and you feel so good, you're making me sick. That's what he keeps saying. And he starts to throw up. He's throwing up. My prayer is actually exorcising him. I'm exorcising the demons out of him. And he is getting sick from me doing that prayer. He starts to throw up, and I am like tripped out. I literally get up, and he can't get close to me because these people are around me. I literally get up, I grab my friends, and I said, "Let's go." And they're like, "What's up?" And I'm like, "I got to get out of here. Your friend just freaked me out. Whoa. I mean, what is wrong with that guy?" And, oh my God. And literally, "Oh my God, please help him." And I grabbed Gordon and Jamar, and we, go upstairs, and they're like, "Dude, it's just starting to pop off here." The club goes all night long until the AM. But after seeing that guy throw up after I was praying for him, and what he said, "I'm the devil," I was like, and he had just sold his soul to get a record deal, and he was trying to talk my buddy Gordon into selling his soul. He was the guy that was saying, "Hey, sell your soul and you get a record deal with my label." And I take Gordon out and my buddy John, and we go, we walk out at 1015 Folsom, and my truck is parked like literally about a half mile away. There's no parking there because everybody's going out. It's the weekend. And I I take them and I go get a slice of pizza at this little pizza place right on Mission Street, and then we walk up to my car, and I have a 6 pack of beer in my car, and we go sit in the car and eat some slices of pizza. And I'm talking to Gordon. I was like, "Dude, your friend freaked me out. Wow, what the hell is wrong with him?" And I go, "Gordon, you need to promise me you're not going to sell your soul. Do not sell your soul." And he says, "No, I'm not going to do it. You talked me out of it." I literally talked him out of it with bringing his daughter up. That's the only thing that snapped him out of it. But he was going to sell his soul, and he was going to get a record deal, and they were going to be signed. They were going to be the next big thing because they were talented. And I sit there in the car, and I have a 6 pack of beer, and we drink I literally like drink one beer, and I let those guys have a beer each. We don't even drink the beers. And we sit in the car because I'm still like in shock, and I'm like, I don't even want to drive. So we sit and talk in the car and eat our pizza, and we sit literally talk for about 3 or 4 hours in the car, just sitting in my truck, talking, listening to music in the truck. And I'm telling Gordon, "Dude, don't do it. Don't sell your soul. It's not worth it." And he's like, "I know, but we would get famous, and I wanted to be famous." And I'm like, "At what cost? Selling your soul?" And before this time, I never knew there was such thing as selling your soul. And I never met a devil worshiper. That was the first time I'd ever met a devil worshiper. And I was like, you know what? Just don't do it. Believe me, you'll be sorry. And when it gets light, we jump in the car right as it's starting to get light. I think about 5 a.m. and there's traffic, and I think it must have been like maybe it was a Thursday night, because Thursday night pumps off. It probably wasn't a weekend. I think it was Thursday, because I know there was rush hour traffic in the morning. 10:15 Folsom would pop off like Thursday, Friday, Saturday. It would pop off 5 days a week there, literally. And there's really dark energy in that club. If you've ever been there and anyone ever knows, they know it's dark, and especially down below in the dungeon. Well, 5 a.m., we start driving back to Marin, and we're driving across. We drive through the city, and we're driving across the Golden Gate Bridge.